Do you want to improve at a quicker pace? Check out GITGUDRacing.com. I've coached hundreds of drivers, from real-life racers to sim enthusiasts, who experience rapid improvement after just one session. And while investing in top-notch hardware is great, imagine how much more you can elevate your experience by adding coaching to the mix. My methods are practical, aiming to break down complex concepts into easily digestible bits that are simple to understand. You can find reviews of the sessions I've conducted on the Fiverr link provided in the video description. Let's elevate your racing skills together. Now for the track guide. For turn 1, you want to align yourself with this curve, but don't use it under braking because it will make the car very unstable and you won't be able to turn in with the same grip. So align yourself with the white line, not with the curve. And in terms of braking, I'm using this white line before the 50-meter board. So slightly before this line, but looking at this line, I'm applying the brakes. And it's important in this corner to not slide the car towards the corner. This is a corner in which the car can do a micro slide mid-corner or even a bigger slide there. And whenever you're gonna slide the tires into that type of corner, you're gonna lose time. You're gonna lose time because you're gonna cover a longer distance, and you're gonna lose time because basically you're gonna overheat the tires and you have a bit less grip when you're gonna put the power down. So it's really important to have the rear tires in check. You don't want the rear tires to overheat into this corner. So you're braking not that hard initially, but then when going into this corner, don't carry a lot of speed. If you're gonna try to force the entry and carry just a bit more speed, and maybe if you don't trail brake enough and you have to force a bit the front, then the rear we're gonna lose grip as well, so you will get into some understeer, then oversteer. It's important to keep the balance of the car neutral in this corner and just follow this curve. So the corner should look very relaxed, very easy. It should not look like you're gonna throw the car into the corner. So again, following the corner very nicely, and avoid having a gap in between the brake and the throttle. Avoid having a slight coasting here, because it's a uphill part and you're gonna be in third gear. If you will have a slight coast, so not feeding the engine the RPMs that it needs, the third gear is not gonna be that efficient going uphill, and you're gonna lose a bit of time. You're gonna lose maybe half a tenth or so. So very important to blend the inputs together. Close to the right side, using this curb again. This is gonna be key to use this curb. And for me, as soon as I reposition to this part of the track, to the curb, that's the moment in which I'm applying the brakes and I turn in. And with a slight trail brake, I aim to cut these curbs right here. And then for this corner as well, I aim to cut those too. Those can unsettle the car a bit, but it's gonna be a lot easier if you're gonna cut at least a part of them. So don't avoid them altogether. You can cut them a bit less than what I did, because I lost a bit of time. To be honest, I was losing even before cutting them because I had a big gap in my inputs here, just because I turned in a bit earlier for this corner. So again, you want at the exit of this one to be a bit more close to the left side here, just a bit more close that I was in this lap, and then this corner is gonna be easier. But use all the track here, same on the exit, push the car wide. And the next chicane is very similar to the one that we just had. Braking point is the 50, so at the 50 here, applying the brakes. It's a slight trail braking, but then followed by a downshift to third to get that extra rotation. Cutting this curb a lot, and the yellow sausage curb. And again, you just want to cut those curves a lot into this part and fill the gap that you have in between the corners in the chicane with a slight trail brake. Like what I did here, 5%, 10%, that's exactly what you need to make the fronts point. For the next corner, the braking and turning point is this car on the left. As soon as I don't see it, this one, it's now in my windshield, left windshield, I'm applying the brakes. And as soon as I go into this corner, I turn more and more. Like right now I have 90 degrees of steering angle. And this is important. You don't want to turn in a lot initially, just because you won't have the grip on the front tires. So the turning should be progressive, and it should reach its peak very close to the curb. So whenever you're cutting this curb, you're gonna have the peak amount or the the maximum amount of rotation, then you're gonna put the power down, so the car will be more towards the right side here. So more towards the right side. That's gonna be key into this complex of corners, because this car doesn't have downforce. This car has a lot of mechanical grip. It requires mechanical grip, and because in this corner you can gain or lose a lot of time by being 1/10 earlier on throttle, you want to prepare every corner here. So for this one, we need to use all the track, turning from this angle, and as soon as I'm very close to this green curve right here, I'm applying a bit of trail brake, like 2% trail brake right now, then back on throttle, pushing the car wide, but don't push it all the way to the edge of the green, because you're gonna have a hard time bringing the car back to the left right now. So it's one of those corners in which using all the track with this car, it won't gain you any lap time, just because everything happens so quickly and you won't have enough time to properly reposition for the next one. So you can use half of this curve, that's fine, but if you're gonna use more, you will find yourself that you're not gaining anything. In best case scenario, you will have the exact same lap time, but you will use more steering angle to bring the car to the left. So you will trade off a bit of tire temperature, tire deg, just for the same lap time. It's not worth it. Bringing the car to the left here, not using this curve, because same as turn 1, it's gonna make the turn in a bit lazier. And it's important in this corner to apex as late as we can, because if we're gonna meet this curve early, we're gonna have a hard time towards the exit. But we're gonna just do a slight trail brake, 2% trail brake, and then while going into this corner, applying again the throttle so that we can hit him a bit later. Building up the throttle here, not ideal what I did. You shouldn't have this staircase, but I hit the curb just a bit early and I touched the curb. That's one of the things that you shouldn't do. You shouldn't touch that curb, because if you touch it, the car will be slightly unbalanced, and this slight unbalance, you will reflect it in your throttle input. So you will see it in your throttle. You will have to modulate a bit more the throttle than you need. So avoid hitting that curb. Now pushing the car all the way and now using all this part of the track, just because in this part you will slightly gain more by being earlier on throttle in the previous corner and then turning for this one. You can try the other line in which you're not using this part of the curb, but it's a bit slower. The other line, it's a bit slower. So even though this one is a bit sketchier because the car won't turn as much as you want initially, it's maybe half a tenth quicker, something like that. I found in my testing. For the race stream, you can use it for the 50 minutes race. It won't be an issue, so don't worry about it. Going into this corner, just slight trail brake again, 3% trail brake, and it's important to put the power down earlier here. So my throttle application was very late, so I could have left this section with 1/10 net gain, like what I had around here, but because I delayed it a bit too much, I lose the time. So the takeaway for you is, firstly, use this curb, cut it to the grass, but apex very late. Apex, so you see this curve from here. See, you see here the beginning. This is way too early to apex. So you're gonna go more, and almost in the middle, close to the exit. The exit is here, so let's say in the middle, you're gonna mount this curve and use it. Be a bit earlier on throttle, because here I could have used just an inch more of the track and would have gained that time. But going into the next corner, the breaking point for it is this building right here to the left. Let me go like this. So this building right here, the moment that I don't see it anymore and it's somewhere in this pillar right here, like right now, I'm applying the brakes. And you don't have to brake very hard initially, but you don't trail brake into lower percentages as well, because you want to shoot the car a bit deeper into this corner. You can gain, you don't need to over prepare the next one. So what I'm doing, downshifting to third, going very close to this yellow sausage curve. Now here, immediately back on throttle and pushing the car to the left, and then doing the lift and going back on throttle. This is gonna give you on average more lap time than over preparing it, because if you're gonna over prepare, you will steer more. So what was happening for me here, if I didn't take this narrower line here into this corner and I would brake more to have the car more on the right here, just because I used a bit more steering angle to bring the car to the right and then left, this right-left quickly and with a lot of steering angle overheated the tires too much to the point that this corner was slow. Also notice a small trail brake in between, just a blimp on the brakes. So for me this was quicker on average. Now going into this corner, 50-meter board is the braking point. I braked way too early into this corner, so brake whenever you don't see the 50. So here you should apply the brakes. So I braked a bit too early, and you see that I'm losing time on entry just because I braked that early. Now the approach for this corner is as following. This is a very long corner. It keeps going, keeps going, keeps going. So you want to see this on the axis. You want to see a long trail braking zone followed by a very sharp throttle application. You don't want to see yourself braking very hard initially and then giving it a blimp of throttle, then getting off the throttle, then getting on throttle again. That's gonna be inefficient. The most efficient way is to brake quite late and trail brake a lot and brake soft initially, don't brake very hard initially, and let the speed roll into this corner while trailing. Treat it as a V-shaped line, so the car will track out a bit wider in the middle, then you bring the car to the apex, so it's like a double apex corner, and then you cut it and you keep the throttle pinned. Because if you're gonna do this approach, if you're gonna brake later, softer, but trail brake for longer, you will roll more speed into the corner, you will naturally make the car track out a bit wider, so when you're gonna put the power down, you will have the space on the inside to keep the throttle application on. Because if you're too close to this curb, and if you find yourself touching this curb from the beginning, you will have a hard time putting the throttle application, and you will see in your throttle input that you will modulate it a bit more. So the key here is to have less modulation on the throttle. This is how we're gonna achieve it, using all the track here. And for these corners, in the first lap or two, it won't be impossible for you to it will be impossible for you to take it flat, but once the car warms up, you can do it. So right now, cutting here a lot, cutting here as well without dropping the throttle. You will do like a 5% lift in the first lap, like I did here before. This lift, this small lift, 5% lift. That's gonna be enough in the opening laps. Now for the final corner, this is exactly as the previous one. You want to brake late, you want to brake not that hard initially, but trail brake for longer, let the car track out wider, and then treat it as a double apex and put the power down nice and confident, almost a vertical approach as early as you can. And in short, that's a track guide for Mugello with the BMW M4 GT4. I hope you have a great week ahead, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.